Well, I've got two people that are very close to you. I want you to talk about your parents here.
My father, he's deceased now. He helped shape my life in good and bad. But my dad was hard-nosed. Daddy used to always tell me, ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. You got to get up and work for it. And I saw my dad with a 9th grade education rise up in the ranks of working on the railroad from a laborer to a foreman. And he had some side hustle along the way. But my dad was a hard worker. He was straight up hustle. And I saw that. And he was successful. My dad owned 2 18-wheelers. We owned a grocery store. He had a nightclub. And I'm like, well, if he can do this with a 9th grade education, couldn't have read, couldn't have write. But I saw how he struggled to hustle to make sure my family had a decent life. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either. I saw both sides of the fence from my dad and my mom.
Okay, so staying there with your dad, I want to get this in here real quick.
Okay.
Some conflicts that you were fighting with in the book, how your mom and dad interacted and how it affected you coming up as a man. And then that kind of led me to this question that did you have a reason to hold a grudge against your father when your mom and dad divorced?
At one point, I was kind of angry because they got divorced. No kid want to see their mom and dad divorced. But I also got the opportunity to see another side of my dad from him and my mom not being together. When they got divorced, I lived with my mother. But I still had a relationship with my dad. You know, he was always in my ear. Got to make sure you keep your grades, make sure you do that. And then I was a teenager father, and my daddy, he pulled me to the side early. And he said, look, you're doing grown man stuff. I'm 13, 14 years old. I'm like, hold up, man, you my daddy. You can't do that. But he was like, you stepping in to the big leagues now. It's time to go to work. So I've been working ever since. And he taught me responsibilities early. Just what he said. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. Get up and work for it. My daddy made me buy my first car. I gave him $500. 1977 Ford Thunderbird. Had me some Turbo Tech light tires on and a realistic radio in it. I thought I was the stuff, boy. I had to earn enough money to buy my car for my dad. I mean, I had to work enough to save up to get it. And he was just teaching me responsibilities. I was mad. I'm like, nah, you supposed to be giving me this. He was like, no, you gonna work for this. And then he also told me, once you pay for your own stuff, you'll appreciate it more than somebody giving it to you.
Let me throw this in there. So your dad's making sure you're responsible, but then your dad is struggling with his own demons. In turn, you had a resentment for it to a certain degree, or back to that grudge again. What was going on there with what he was going through?
I saw my dad. He was a womanizer. I saw him use women because, see, my dad dibbled and dabbled with drugs as well. And I saw that. And I saw him doing that early. Kind of rubbed off on me. So therefore, I didn't hold a grudge, but I was like, well, dang, this my daddy doing it. Now here it is, I'm looking at life totally different because I'm seeing my daddy do certain things. And then later on in life, I saw myself doing them same things I saw my daddy. Now, I'm telling you, my daddy was a wonderful father. He just didn't do all the right things. But as far as raising me, he raised me the best way he knew how. And that's how I raised my kids, the best way I knew how. Because one thing about being a parent, it don't come with instructions. It's trial and error all the way through. So he did the best he knew how. But no, I hold a grudge. I was kind of angry because certain things didn't go the way I thought they should have as a kid. But it made me grow up early. Here I am, 14, 15, I'm running with grown folks because I had to start doing grown folk stuff, trying to support my kids because daddy wasn't giving me nothing else no more. So here it is. I'm trying to work, hustle, and do what I needed to do to try to keep gas in my car and make sure I had my little money for my football and basketball games. But I made it happen. And that's just because I saw how my dad would hustle.
Now you're at a crossroads here. Your dad's out of the house. You're the man of the house now. How does that go?
See, daddy was hard-nosed, hard knocks, no nonsense. And mama was, okay, well, we going to pray about it. We going to pray about it and it's going to be all right. And daddy was like, no, get your butt up and go to work. But then on the flip side of that, I was the only boy. I was the youngest child. And I was flat out a brat. I was spoiled by my sisters, my mom, and my dad. But in all that, I was 14. My grandmother got sick. So my mama moved her in with us and gave me her house. So here I am now, 14 years old. I just bought a car for my daddy. And now my mama done gave me my grandmother's house. So here it is. I got a car and a house. At 14, finna be 15. And then already finna be the parent of a child. It was like, wow. Here I am, 8th grade, 9th grade, got a car, got a house, and then got a kid. Finna have another kid. Mind you, Jay, I had 2 kids for my 10th grade year.
It wasn't meeting your mother's expectation. And she was there for you. Talk to us about that.
Mama was always there for me. regardless of what I did or what I didn't do. Mama was always there showing that unconditional love. It was, baby, everything gonna be all right. We'll get through this. We'll get through that. In the book, I didn't feel like I was being the perfect son as a kid and as an adult, but my mama never made me feel no kind of way. She always would encourage me. She would always, regardless of what I was doing, even in the midst of my drug addiction, I would be working it. Mama would still give me money to get gas, get back. Here I am, I'm making more money than she was. But she would still help me because she didn't want to see me fail.
That leads me to this. You apologized to your mother. What brought this on?
After I got clean, I realized how special she was to me. And I had to thank her for always being there, for always coming to the school when things wasn't going right, for always being in my football, basketball, and track meets, for always coming to my parent-teacher conference, for whooping my butt when I was out of line. I had to go back and thank her for that because that molded me and it shaped me. And regardless of my addiction, I still had a firm foundation, all because of what she did when I was younger. At some point, everybody's going to stray. But if you got that firm foundation, you'll know how to come back. And I thank God I had a firm foundation for my mother and my father. But even though both of them had different traits, they still laid a foundation for me. And I'm standing on that foundation today.
Excellent.